All right, welcome to Living the Dream with Todd Probasco, mortgage banker at Lakeside Bank here in Chicago, offering mortgage financing in all 50 states. If you're looking to buy or refi, give me a call. I'm really excited. We have a special guest today, Michelle Zupan from Key Realty. She's based in Crown Point, Indiana. Michelle, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Welcome. Glad you can
Thanks
make
for
it.
having me.
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about what you do, a little bit about both of us. And the big thing is why Indiana? Indiana seems to be a hot topic when it comes to real estate. And we got a lot of people relocating to Indiana. And I know there's a lot of key points on why. Not only you as being a great realtor selling them a house,
Absolutely.
but I think there's some reasons why people are looking at coming to the Hoosier State to call that home. So why don't we just jump in real quick. I'll give a little background on me, and then I'll swing it over to you for our listeners to understand who we are. And also, if you're looking to reach out to Michelle or myself, our contact info will be at the bottom of this with the contact information for both of us if you'd like to reach out to us in regards to mortgage or real estate. But again, I'm Todd Probasco. Been a mortgage banker for about 25 years. Love helping people from the first-time home buyer all the way up to multi-million-dollar properties. I lend in all 50 states. I have great rates, and I'm your one-stop shop. You don't get bounced around. You just deal with me, and I take your file from start to finish. And we get you the best rate. We shop for you and make your life easy when it comes to financing. So that's what I do. I know that doesn't sound real exciting, but that's what I do. So unless you can write a check for a house, maybe give me a call. So, all right, moving on. Michelle Zupan from Key Realty in Crown Point, Indiana. Why don't you give us a little background on you, who you are, what you do, and why someone should give you a call when they're looking for real estate, I believe in Northwest Indiana, correct?
Correct. I specialize anywhere in Northwest Indiana, born and raised. My parents still live in the same home that they purchased in the 70s.
Wow.
So I'm very familiar with the area, the little neighborhoods, new towns, new developments, old developments. My goal is to help people. I don't need to sell a house. The house should sell itself. My goal is to help every step on the journey, to hold somebody's hand from start to finish, whether they're buying or selling, looking to relocate, know the area, what's to do here. I'm highly active in our community and would love to help people become active in the community as well.
Awesome. And I'll have Michelle's contact info at the bottom if you'd like to reach out to her. She gets right back to you. I will tell you that. She's easily accessible. And that's important when you're talking about real estate. You got to be able to get a hold of your team, partners, professionals, whatever you want to call us, to get your questions answered. And Michelle's been very timely when I've reached out to her. So feel free to reach out to her if you got any questions on real estate in Northwest Indiana. All right, moving on. Michelle, Indiana. It's kind of a hot button. You know, I'm born and raised in Chicago, the Chicagoland area. And, you know, it's a great city, one of the best in the country and in the world. And it's not cheap to live in the Chicagoland area. But the cool thing that I've learned is that Northwest Indiana is really not far from that great city of Chicago, but there's quite a difference when it comes to buying a house and owning real estate in Indiana versus Illinois. So why don't we start with that? I think the biggest thing, right, is property taxes.
Absolutely.
What have you noticed the differences between Illinois and Indiana on property taxes?
Well, what we pay yearly in property taxes, I'm finding some people pay monthly in Illinois. So that is a huge savings. You're
I'm sorry,
getting,
what was that again?
I'm finding that a lot of clients that I've helped from Illinois, what they pay monthly for taxes is what their yearly tax bill is here. It makes a huge difference. You can get a really good size home and still only pay $3,500 a year in taxes.
And what kind of a price house would that be?
Probably like a 360, 400,000.
So 360 in Indiana, you'd pay 3,500 a year.
Yep.
Over here on the Illinois side, it'd be at least double that.
Yep.
Okay, so for those of you listening, there's a big positive right there. That's quite a bit of savings in property taxes, because real estate usually is a good investment. The one thing about real estate is taxes, you never get that back. Once that money goes, it's gone. It's out the window. So that's a big savings. So property taxes is probably maybe a number one of the motivating
Absolutely.
factors. Okay.
Yes.
What other things are driving people to Indiana besides the lower property taxes?
Our house prices are steady. They're not inexpensive, but they're fair. That helps out a lot. But also the commute is really not bad. When you're looking at being in a suburb of Chicago and driving into the city, you're still looking at an hour 40 to get into work. Here, depending on location, highways are super accessible, trains are accessible. We have so many options and the commute really isn't that bad. My husband drives from Lakes at Four Seasons to his office in Elsa, right off of 294 in Cicero. And granted, he leaves very early in the morning, but it takes him about 45, 50 minutes to get to work.
That's not bad. No.
Nope.
When I used to work downtown, I used to stay, I got to book an hour each way.
Yep.
So, okay. So the commute's not bad. You might hear Indiana, new state, and think that it's farther than it is, but it really isn't. In a way, if it's that far, it's almost like another group of suburbs for Chicago, but it just happens
Correct.
to be over a state line, right?
Yep.
Okay.
We do have a lot of people that choose to use the South Shore as well. So the train stations are super easy to access, well lit, great parking. They have security, and it's really inexpensive to travel that way. So that's another option.
And it runs nonstop.
Well, not nonstop, but it has a very good schedule.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, that's cool. Now, one of the biggest things, it's really big here. And they say that's one of the reasons we pay such high property taxes is the quality of schools and education. Let's talk about that. The Chicago suburbs, you pay through the nose, but you get these top rated schools. Let's talk about schools in Northwest Indiana from elementary through high school. How are they and how are they ranked?
A lot of our schools are 4A schools. They are ranked very well. People move specifically to communities for the school district from elementary all the way on up to high school. Second to none. We have great schools. Some are very large, and then we have smaller schools as well that are just as good. The educators are great, and the kids are getting a highly qualified education to move on to their next steps.
Awesome. And then after that, I know Indiana has a lot of great colleges and universities.
Absolutely.
Indiana State, Notre Dame, my favorite, Butler. So the state has quite a few higher level education choices within the state as well.
Oh, yes. And then
All right,
you get
here's another
in-state
big one.
pricing for college too, which makes a huge difference.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Then you do also get in-state residency pricing for college, which makes a huge difference when you're talking about higher education. It's expensive.
It is. I know. Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. So they can check that out probably by going to the state of Indiana site or IU or Indiana State.
Yeah,
So.
absolutely.
All right, here's another big one. Let's talk about employment, jobs, companies. How is the job market in Northwest Indiana? Are people making good money? Are there companies coming there? Let's talk about that real quick.
So we are finding that several companies in the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years have skipped the border as well and have come to Northwest Indiana. Some big names that, I don't necessarily want to drop their names for exclusivity, but big companies have moved because of the tax breaks, because of the location. It's still easy for them to get their shipments with train and semis. So there is no loss of em- gainful employment here in Indiana, but we do have a very large amount of people that do travel to the city or the burbs also because it is close. We just had another ginormous Amazon built. So we have two within a mile of each other. So that they hire so many people. Several warehouses, like jumbo warehouses, have just built right near the mall in Maryville, right off of US 30 and Mississippi area and Broadway. They're huge. So there is definitely a lot of employment opportunities.
Cool. Well, that's good news. To piggyback on that, let's talk about growth and new construction. If Indiana's got all these great things, and it be lower taxes, lower housing, jobs and companies, we got to put people somewhere. Are you
Yep.
seeing a lot of growth and new construction going on in Northwest Indiana for housing?
Yes, there is. I feel like every time you drive by, a new neighborhood popping up somewhere or another. Indiana was historically known for the cornfields and a lot of farming. And a lot of that green space has been taken up by new communities. Just in the area that I live, there are 3 new subdivisions within the last 4 years. Large subdivisions, national builders, and some local builders as well. But then when you go to the neighboring towns, there's just as many new constructions as well.
And you're probably seeing, I'm going to guess, a lot of people from Indiana buying those homes. I mean, from Illinois.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, they're crossing over and taking advantage of what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Okay. A couple other ones that people are always curious about: fun and recreation. I know you got some state parks. You got a lot of great golf courses. How's fun and recreation in and around Northwest Indiana?
Well, there's always something to do, depending on the town that you select. 2 of the most popular areas are Crown Point and Valparaiso, and they both have a downtown square. Both have music on the weekends and food trucks and farmers markets. There's farmers markets across the whole region. It's almost like if you wanted to go to a farmers market, you could probably find one within a 30-minute drive almost every day of the week.
Wow.
Chesterton's is on Saturday, Cedar Lake's on Wednesday, Crown Point is on Saturday. You name it, there's always something to do. Golfing, huge. There's so many golf courses. Some are
Love
private,
it.
some are public. Always golf outings, and you have the Lions Club, the Kiwanis. They all have the corn roasts and Taste of Crown Point, Taste of Valpo. There's always something going on.
I love it. That's awesome. And then for major shows, you're, again, like we said, you're not that far from Chicago. And then if you need to travel out of state, you're probably not that far of a ride to Midway or O'Hare.
No, I went to Midway last week and it took us an hour on the dot, and that was with parking.
Love it. Outstanding.
But
Okay.
South Bend Airport isn't very far away either. You could get there in an hour and a half. So sometimes you can get a cheaper flight outside of South Bend.
Oh, good to know. Might be worth checking out.
Totally.
And you can stop in the Fighting Irish gift shop, pick up a Notre
Yep.
Dame gear. All right, let's get to the hot stuff that we want to talk about. If you're thinking about, or it's crossed your mind about moving to Indiana, how you and I can help them. So the process is really pretty simple. I think some people, right, Michelle, make it harder than it is.
Absolutely. It's intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, because people don't do it that often, but that's why we're here, right? You and I have a license and we're here to help people. So first and foremost, I think you need to get your finances in order first, find out where you're at on your purchase power, what you want to do in regards to down payment, monthly payment, things like that. That's kind of where I come in. I can do that same day. It's pretty simple. We can do it all over the phone and via email and verify your income, assets, credit, get you all teed up and let you know where you stand, whether you got to sell a property and you're taking proceeds from that, or you're using your own savings and or a gift. It doesn't matter. We make that work any way possible. And then once we get that part done, we issue the pre-approval letter, and then I would professionally hand them over to you, to where you would then probably, I'll let you explain it, but you're going to do some Q&A and what's important to them and give them some suggestions, right?
Absolutely.
And then after they're pre-approved and you have an idea what would be of interest to them, do you set them up on some kind of property search or email us? How do you do that?
I do. The most important thing is obviously that pre-approval. We've all seen the shows on HGTV where you look at a property that's $1 million and you can never unsee that property. You compare it to everything. So knowing your budget is the most important part. So you know where we should start. So I'll get a feel of the areas they're looking for. Are you commuting? Where is work? How far do you want to travel to work? Suggest some areas, send them some fun facts about it, and then set them up with a portal, which is awesome. Because as soon as a property hits the market in that price range with their specifications, those properties will go straight to their email so they can dig through, look at the pictures, look at the description to see if that's something that fits their needs. Then once we narrow down some of the properties, let's go look at them. Let's take a look and see if what's on paper, what was photographed is what you really want.
Mm-hmm. So kind of do a broad, narrow it down. And
Absolutely.
Then once everybody agrees, then you would schedule showings and go look at the property.
Yes.
Say they find one they like. Next thing we do, I guess you would then prepare the offer for them.
That's exactly what we would do. I'm always in lockstep with the lender. I try to swim in my own lane. So lender does money, I do the house journey. So anytime I'm ready to write an offer, I'm going to loop that lender in, let them know what we're doing. Todd could run the taxes and estimate what the insurance is, so you know what your estimated monthly payment is going to be. Now, I know it's hard to just shop on payment, but right now with interest rates and life, it's important to know what you're going to be spending monthly and what's expected. So we'll write the offer, get the deets that are important, inspections and all of that. I will take care of. I will hold your hand through every step of the process because I've done this before. When's the last time that somebody's bought a house? It's the largest investment that you're going to make. So having an expert on your side to hold your hand is super important. Once the offer's written, it's awesome. Everything is digital. We live in a digital world. We don't have to meet up. I send it right to an email. I explain it all. I usually send over a text with all of the key points. So you have that. You digitally sign. Once you sign, you have a copy of what you sign. And then I go to work and I go and submit it to the listing agent. And then we play the waiting game.
Offer gets accepted. Guess what? Hallelujah. High five. Now it comes back to me. So Michelle's been amazing. She's been using her magic to get that offer prepared and accepted. The buyer then comes back to me and we start the process of the mortgage application, where we do all the verification, start the appraisal, order title, and all that stuff. Then we get all that done, and then we get those 3 magic words, clear to close. And then we go to the closing table and celebrate the person getting their new house in Northwest Indiana.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That's it. And you and I can help them from start to finish.
Yes. One-stop shop.
I love it. Okay. Michelle, why don't you just verbally give out your name, phone, email, name of your company. I'll do the same. And again, I will list it at the bottom of this video, and it'll be listed on the description. as well if you need to reach out to Michelle or I. But Michelle, how could people get a hold of you if they're interested in talking to you about real estate in Northwest Indiana?
I'm super easy to get a hold of. You can call, text, email. So call or text at 219-613-6020. My email is super easy. Zupan sells NWI@gmail.com.
Love it. And again, I'm Todd Probasco from Lakeside Bank. You can reach me at 708-205-2983 or toddprobasco@gmail.com. Michelle, I want to say thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to talk to you about how hot and how wonderful things are in Northwest Indiana. I see it continuing for quite a while, so I think you're in a good spot, and I think we're going to continue to see growth over in Indiana based upon all the good things happening there.
I think so.
Yep. All right. Well, have a great day, Michelle. Thanks for joining us, and thank you for listening to Living the Dream here
Take care.
on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you.